There's a seismic shift happening right under our noses, largely unnoticed by the mainstream financial media, yet profoundly significant for anyone holding assets, especially gold and silver. We're talking about something unprecedented unfolding in the very heart of the global financial system. The vaults of New York are emptying, and they're emptying fast. This isn't hyperbole. This isn't some conspiracy theory lurking in the shadows. This is a cold, hard, undeniable fact, staring us directly in the face through the official data, and it demands our immediate attention. Now, when I say emptying, I don't mean a slow trickle, a minor rebalancing that occurs from time to time within the intricate dance of commodity markets. No, I mean an accelerated, systematic withdrawal of physical gold, pushing us into uncharted territory where the fundamental architecture of price discovery itself is being challenged. This isn't just about a few tons here and there. We are witnessing a persistent, aggressive drain that has profound implications for the stability of the paper gold market and indeed the broader financial system. And who better to shed light on this extraordinary development, to peel back the layers of complexity and reveal what's truly happening, than the titans at SPROTT, who have been dissecting the mechanics of the precious metals market with unparalleled precision for decades. They've not only observed this phenomenon with a keen eye, they're revealing what's truly behind it, and the implications are simply staggering. I believe their insights are absolutely critical for understanding where we stand today and where we are headed tomorrow. For decades, the COMEX in New York has stood as the global benchmark for gold price discovery. It's a critical hub where futures contracts are traded, theoretically backed by physical metal held in designated depositories. These aren't just any vaults. These are the hallowed grounds of institutions like J.P. Morgan, HSBC, Brinks, and Manfra, Tordella and Brooks, MTB, holding literally billions of dollars worth of gold, segmented into specific categories. You have eligible gold, which is metal that meets COMEX specifications and is available for delivery against a futures contract, sitting there, ready to be called upon. Then, even more critically, you have registered gold, which is metal that has already been earmarked for delivery, allocated to a specific holder, awaiting collection. It's the physical foundation beneath the colossal derivatives market, a foundation many assumed was immutable, forever brimming, a deep pool of liquidity that would always be there to settle any physical demand. It's the supposed bedrock of trust in a system that relies heavily on paper promises. But what if that foundation is starting to crack? What if the physical gold underpinning this massive paper market is disappearing at an alarming rate? This isn't theoretical. It's what the data, meticulously tracked and analyzed by firms like SPROTT, is unequivocally showing us. We've seen, over the past few years, and especially in recent months, a persistent, aggressive drawdown in the physical inventories within these COMEX-approved vaults. The numbers are striking, showing a relentless decline in both eligible and, perhaps more critically, registered gold. This isn't just a minor fluctuation, a seasonal ebb and flow. This is a structural shift, a profound divergence from historical norms. The question isn't if it's happening, but why it's happening with such intensity, and what it truly signifies for the future of gold and, indeed, the broader financial system. Before we go any further, if you find this kind of deep dive analysis valuable, please take a moment to hit that like button right now. It really helps the channel reach more people who need to hear this critical information. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss part 2 of this essential series. The declining inventory levels within the COMEX vaults paint a stark picture. We've seen periods where registered gold dipped to alarmingly low levels, flirting with ratios that suggest a serious disconnect between the paper claims and the underlying physical reality. Imagine a market where thousands of contracts are outstanding, each representing 100 troy ounces of gold, yet the physical registered supply available for immediate delivery is only a tiny fraction of that. This isn't just an academic exercise, it's a situation fraught with systemic risk. When the perceived physical backing for a paper market dwindles, confidence erodes, and the potential for a delivery default, or a physical squeeze, becomes a very real concern. And these concerns are not born of speculation, but from the hard data. For years, many of us in the precious metals community have discussed the concept of paper gold versus physical gold, the vast leverage embedded in the futures markets, and the potential vulnerabilities that arise when physical supply becomes constrained. But what we are witnessing now, according to SPROTT's detailed analysis, is not merely a theoretical vulnerability being exposed. It's an active, aggressive exploitation of that vulnerability by entities demanding physical delivery. The data shows that the aggregate amount of gold held in COMEX vaults has been on a sustained downward trend. We're talking about millions of ounces being removed from the system. This isn't just a handful of retail investors. This is a systematic destocking on a scale that implies significant institutional involvement and strategic intent. Who is behind these massive withdrawals? Are we witnessing a flight to safety by institutional players, perhaps anticipating future financial instability, or something even more fundamental, a reevaluation of what constitutes a truly safe asset in an increasingly uncertain world? What does this mean for the integrity of the COMEX itself, which relies heavily on the perception of deep physical liquidity to maintain its role as a global price setter? If the physical metal is draining out, does the paper price, largely divorced from this physical reality, still hold true meaning? And most importantly, what are the titans at SPROTT telling us about the endgame of this unprecedented depletion? We're going to dive deep into these questions, unraveling the layers of complexity to reveal the profound implications for your portfolio and your financial future. If you're finding this as compelling as I am, please do me a favor and hit that like button now. SPROTT's team, with their deep understanding of global capital flows and precious metals markets, brings an unparalleled perspective to this unfolding drama. They aren't just looking at the daily inventory reports, they're connecting the dots, analyzing the motivations, and identifying the true drivers of this physical gold exodus from New York. What they've revealed is not simply a reaction to higher gold prices, nor is it merely speculative interest. Instead, they point to a much more profound and structural demand shift. Historically, when we've seen outflows from COMEX, it might have been attributed to arbitrage opportunities or short-term trading strategies. But this current trend is different. It's sustained, it's aggressive, and it's occurring against a backdrop of increasing geopolitical tensions, escalating inflation, and growing doubts about the long-term stability of fiat currencies and traditional financial assets. This isn't just about moving gold from one vault to another within the system. It's about metal leaving the system entirely, or at least leaving the jurisdiction and easy accessibility of the COMEX framework. The eligible category is shrinking, which means less metal is available to become registered. The registered category, crucial for immediate delivery, is also under immense pressure, often bouncing off multi-year lows. This creates a fascinating and, frankly, precarious dynamic. Consider the potential domino effect. If a significant number of futures contract holders decide they want physical delivery simultaneously, and the registered stock is insufficient, what happens? The market would be forced to scramble for physical metal, driving prices dramatically higher, or it could potentially lead to a cash settlement, fundamentally undermining the promise of physical delivery that underpins the entire COMEX system. This isn't just theoretical FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. This is a legitimate systemic risk that has been highlighted by analysts for years, and now, the data from the New York Vault suggests we are moving closer to that tipping point. SPROTT's deep dives have focused on the character of this demand. They've been asking the critical question, who is actually taking this gold? Is it individuals? Is it large funds? Or is there something else at play? And their analysis has yielded a critical insight that helps us understand the true gravity of this situation. What they've identified is that this persistent drain of physical gold is not merely a reflection of short-term speculative activity or even a broad-based retail investor panic. While those elements might play a minor role, the sheer scale and consistency of the outflows suggest a much more sophisticated, strategic, and profoundly impactful driver. Their research points overwhelmingly to a specific type of entity, or a collection of entities with similar long-term strategic goals, as the primary architects of this physical gold removal. These aren't necessarily the traditional bullion banks moving metal around for their own trading books. Instead, SPROTT's data and insights suggest we are seeing a significant, systematic acquisition of physical gold by entities whose motivations transcend the daily fluctuations of the market. They are acquiring physical metal not for speculative purposes, nor for immediate resale, but for long-term holding. This points to a profound shift in asset preference, a strategic decision to convert paper claims into tangible, verifiable physical assets outside the immediate influence of the highly leveraged derivatives markets. This isn't just gold moving from one segment of the market to another. This is gold being taken out of the accessible, deliverable pool of the COMEX at an accelerating pace. SPROTT is revealing that the entities driving this are those who perceive a growing risk in the paper markets, a burgeoning distrust in fiat currencies, and a fundamental desire to secure tangible wealth in an increasingly uncertain financial landscape. The climax of their current analysis, for me, lies in this identification. This isn't just market noise. It's a strategic accumulation of physical gold by very significant players who are signaling, through their actions, a profound lack of confidence in the prevailing financial architecture. They are voting with their feet, or rather, with their physical gold demands. So, the New York vaults are indeed emptying, and SPROTT has provided us with a crucial piece of the puzzle: the nature of the demand. It is strategic, long-term, and born of a deep-seated desire for physical security. This isn't a temporary phenomenon. It's a structural realignment, a clear indication that powerful forces are prioritizing tangible assets over paper promises. This realization alone should compel us all to reevaluate our own portfolios and understand the critical importance of physical gold in today's environment. This strategic shift has massive implications for price discovery, market integrity, and the future role of gold in the global financial system. The questions now become even more urgent. What are the precise implications of this strategic accumulation, and how will it ultimately impact the stability of the broader markets and the value of your assets? We'll delve into these critical questions, explore the ultimate consequences of these emptying vaults, and reveal more of SPROTT's insights in our next segment. We've peered beneath the surface, haven't we? We've glimpsed the whispers of change echoing from the bedrock vaults of New York, a story far more profound than mere inventory shifts. And now, the time has come to pull back the final curtain, to reveal what Eric Sprott and his team have so meticulously observed, what they believe is the true, undeniable narrative unfolding before our very eyes. This isn't just about gold or silver moving from one place to another. This is about the ground shifting under our collective feet, signaling a monumental recalibration of value, trust, and wealth itself. Remember the chilling data points we laid out? The relentless, almost surgical drawdowns from the COMEX registered inventories, the metal truly available for delivery. The eligible category, though larger, acts as a temporary holding pen, but it's the registered metal, the ready-to-deliver ounces, that tell the most urgent tale. We're talking about a significant portion of what was once available, evaporating into the hands of an increasingly discerning clientele. This isn't just a quarterly fluctuation. It's a persistent, directional outflow that suggests a deep, fundamental shift in demand that the mainstream narrative conveniently overlooks, or perhaps simply cannot comprehend. And if you're finding this unraveling of the financial markets intriguing, please take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It truly helps us bring you more of these vital insights. The problem, as I see it, and as SPROTT has illuminated with unparalleled clarity, isn't just the fact that metal is leaving. The real conflict, the underlying tension, lies in the discrepancy between the robust, almost indifferent facade of the paper markets, the futures contracts, the ETFs that don't always fully back their holdings with physical metal, and the stark, undeniable reality of dwindling physical stockpiles. There's a growing chasm between perception and reality. The mainstream financial media often presents a picture of stability, of gold and silver being just another commodity, fluctuating based on interest rate expectations or inflationary pressures. But what if those movements are merely ripples on the surface, while beneath, a powerful silent current is pulling physical wealth into entirely different channels? This leaves us with those crucial open loops. Who are these buyers with an insatiable appetite for physical metal, willing to pay whatever premium it takes to secure it? Where exactly is this metal disappearing to? And perhaps most importantly, why is this happening now, at a time when central banks globally are preaching stability, and the financial system is supposedly robust? Are these just savvy investors, or something far more significant? Let's delve deeper into the mechanics. The COMEX, as we know, operates on a fractional reserve system. For every ounce of physical gold or silver in its vaults, there are many, many more paper claims against it. This works perfectly fine as long as very few people actually demand physical delivery. But what happens when that dynamic shifts? What happens when a significant portion of the market decides they no longer want paper promises, but actual, tangible metal? That's precisely what SPROTT's analysis suggests is occurring. We're witnessing the paper market's Achilles heel being exposed. The sheer volume of paper claims, designed to suppress prices and facilitate leverage, is beginning to buckle under the weight of genuine physical demand. This isn't a theoretical exercise. It's a real-world stress test playing out in slow motion right now. Consider the implications. When an institution or an individual demands physical delivery on the COMEX, that metal has to come from the registered category. When registered inventories plummet, it signals an acute shortage of immediately available metal. This scarcity often forces eligible metal to be reclassified as registered, but even that well is showing signs of running dry in certain critical junctures. This is where SPROTT's insights become invaluable. They're not just tracking these numbers, they're often participating in this process. Their physical precious metal trusts, like PSLV for silver and FIWISE for gold, are designed to do exactly this: purchase and hold physical metal on behalf of their investors. Every share bought in a SPROTT physical trust, when the trust is issuing new shares, means physical metal is acquired and put into secure vaults, often outside the traditional banking system. This directly contributes to the draining of these inventories, acting as a direct conduit for investor demand to manifest in the physical market. It's a powerful feedback loop. This isn't just some fringe theory. We're talking about an accelerating trend. Historically, during periods of economic uncertainty or geopolitical instability, there's always been a flight to safety. But this time feels different. This time, the trust in sovereign debt, in fiat currencies, and in the very integrity of the financial institutions themselves appears to be eroding at an unprecedented pace. The buyers aren't just looking for a hedge. They're looking for an exit strategy from a system they increasingly perceive as fragile, perhaps even on the brink. This shift represents a fundamental loss of confidence in the prevailing financial architecture, and it's a powerful signal that any discerning investor simply cannot afford to ignore. If you're gaining value from this discussion, please consider subscribing to our channel and hitting the notification bell so you don't miss future updates. And do share this video with anyone you think needs to hear this critical information. But what does it really mean when the custodians of the global financial system start to lose their physical grip on the very assets they claim to back? This isn't merely a supply-demand imbalance, it's an existential challenge to the paper price discovery mechanism. The paper market, massive and influential as it is, thrives on the absence of physical demand. When that changes, its very foundations are shaken. The prices dictated by futures contracts, often manipulated or influenced by large institutional players with no intention of ever taking delivery, begin to disconnect from the true value of physical metal. This divergence creates an opportunity for those who understand it, and a significant risk for those who remain oblivious. Now, for the grand revelation, the climax that brings all these threads together. Eric SPROTT has consistently articulated a thesis that is now undeniably playing out. The New York vaults are emptying not because of routine trading, nor solely because of retail investors buying small amounts, but because sophisticated, substantial entities, think institutional investors, family offices, sovereign wealth funds, and even potentially non-Western central banks, are moving decisively into physical precious metals. This is the smart money, the informed money, recognizing the writing on the wall. They are no longer content with paper claims or promises. They see the inflation eroding purchasing power, the escalating geopolitical tensions, the astronomical levels of global debt, and the clear signs of systemic instability in the fiat currency system. They are making a strategic, long-term move to secure real, tangible wealth outside the reach of potential capital controls, banking crises, or currency devaluations. This metal, once held in the traditional financial infrastructure of New York, is largely finding its way into more secure, often private or even offshore vaults, and significantly into the very physical trusts that SPROTT manages. This is the ultimate vote of no confidence in the prevailing system. It's a quiet revolution, a stealthy reallocation of wealth away from unbacked paper assets and into hard monetary assets. The open loops are now closed. The buyers are the discerning few, the smart money. The metal is going into secure long-term holdings. And the why is a profound recognition that the current financial paradigm is unsustainable. The dwindling inventories are not a glitch. They are a feature, a direct signal of a systemic pivot. This isn't just about SPROTT revealing what's happening. It's SPROTT being a catalyst and a key observer of an unfolding phenomenon that will redefine wealth in the coming decades. The conclusion is simple yet profound. The smart money isn't just talking about inflation or systemic risk. They are acting on it. The emptying vaults of New York are tangible proof that a fundamental repricing of physical gold and silver is underway, driven by an accelerating loss of faith in fiat currencies and the institutions that govern them. This isn't just a prediction. It's a current reality, visible in the data, audible in the insights from people like Eric Sprott, and actionable for those willing to heed the call. This is your moment to assess your own portfolio. Are you content with paper promises, or do you understand the imperative of physical wealth in an increasingly uncertain world? Don't let this crucial information simply pass you by. I urge you to visit SPROTTmoney.com or SPROTT.com to explore their offerings and deepen your understanding of physical precious metals. Do your own research. Consider what this mass exodus of physical metal from a major financial hub truly signifies for your financial future. And as always, if you found this discussion valuable, please give us a thumbs up, leave your thoughts in the comments below, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. Stay informed, stay prepared, and protect your wealth. Thank you for joining me on this critical exploration.